guys, let's get straight back into it. It's the start of turn 6. It's 1100 hours on the morning of the 20th of June. Let's roll for Marshall Blucher's orders. And he's got all but red. And now we'll roll for Marshall Davu's orders. And he's got them all. All right, an auspicious start for the French. Now we're going to roll for ADCs. We'll do the Prussians first. First, we're going to start with the Prussian Guards Division. And they've got all 3. Now we're going to roll for the Prussian 1st Infantry Division. Oh, that's bad news. They've only got 1. Then we're going to roll for the Prussian 2nd Infantry Division. And they've got 3. Okay, so that was a terrible outcome for the Prussian 1st Infantry Division with only one CD. So they're going to use their final divisional CNC command token, and they're going to use Chief of Staff. So that automatically gives them another 2. So they're back up to 3 now. They missed with 3, so they get to re-roll those dice. So let's see what those 3 re-rolls get them. Oh, it's been a shocker. They've got 1. So obviously some command strain, but they've got 4 all up. They could have had, well, they could have done better than that. But at least using the CNC's Chief of Staff token has managed to get them 3 extra dice. And they're probably going to need them because they really want to exploit this, but command choke at the worst possible time. So now let's go on to the French. Okay, so we're going to roll for the French 12th Infantry Division. They have a possible 5 ADCs. And from that one's cocked. From that, they've got 3. Now for the 13th Division, they have a maximum of a possible 4. They've got 3, double 6, 4. So they've got 4. Young Guard Division. They've got 3. So we'll do the French ADC allocation because we're already over here. 12th Infantry Division, they're going to use Post of Honor. So that costs them 2. And they're going to use 1 to bring on their reserve cavalry under Panzernow, and he is a bold, so he just needs the 1 for reserve. That means that the Light Infantry Brigade and the Swiss are not going to have any re-rolls. The idea of this Post of Honor is to launch this battalion into this breakthrough by the Prussians. For the 13th Infantry ADCs are being allocated as follows: 3 to the Artillery Brigade, Artillery Assault with a reroll, and 1 to the 1st Infantry Brigade that's back here, which is actually the 2nd Brigade, but let's just call it the 1st for today, the one in depth. They've got a reroll. Now, for the 2nd Infantry Brigade, they're getting a Core ADC allocation to permit them to have a reroll. And then finally, the Young Guard Brigade, Division, 1 reroll for the Tirailleurs, 1 reroll for the Voltigeurs, and the Bold Cavalry Brigade, again, we're going to go with reserve. He's bold, so he'll get an automatic reroll anyway, because he's only using 1 ADC tasking, which is reserves. So let's roll for them, and then we'll go do the Prussians. Okay, so we know that the 51st Regiment's a bank because of Post of Honor. The Reserve Brigade, he's a bold commander, so 2 dice, and he's got a 6 and a 2, so he's coming on. The Light Infantry Brigade, no reroll, they're obeying orders, and the Swiss with no reroll, they're obeying orders. So we move across the Artillery Brigade with a reroll. Oh, just. This brigade here with a reroll. Yes, and finally this brigade here with the Core ADC tasking, and they're obeying orders. The Voltigeurs of the Guard, 4, they're obeying orders. The tirailleurs of the Guard with their artillery. Oh, they've got a re-roll. Oh, the tirailleurs of the Guard have gone hesitant. And now the Cavalry Brigade. They're coming on. So the Guard artillery will be hesitant. We'll roll for the Prussians. A re-roll for the Prussian Cavalry Brigade. 1, so he gets to re-roll that. Oh, if it's not in the box, it doesn't count. 3, they've passed. Now, they've got a forwards order with this brigade, the Prussian Guard Infantry, but he is bold, so he's got a re-roll, and they've passed. The 1st Brigade, Infantry Assault, Glory, and a re-roll. Oh, they've gone hesitant. That's not good. So much wasted stuff. Okay, the 2nd Brigade, 1st Division. Oh, they've gone hesitant as well. That's all coming apart for the Prussians. Artillery Assault, so the 1st Brigade, 1st Division, Artillery Assault. They're obeying orders. And the 2nd Brigade of the... Oh, they've gone hesitant as well. It's all gone to clag for the Prussians. The call order for the Prussians, Blucher has decided he must ride the line. So he's doubled forward on his horse, galloped forward to the 1st Brigade, 1st Division, and has removed their hesitant marker. They won't get Glory, they won't get Infantry Assault, but they won't be hesitant either. So he's decided to ride the line. Okay, so now we roll for initiative. So the French will roll the red dice and the Prussians will roll the white, taking the lower 2. 8 to 4. So the French have the initiative, and so we're going to go straight to the charge decks, and a post of honour is in play. Our post of honour charge. It's from these chaps here, the 3rd Battalion, 51st Regiment, and they can get through there. The gap is right between here and here. I have checked it, and they just squeeze through. So they're going to charge within 3 inches of these chaps. They will realign to face. They can't shoot. They're out of arc. So all they can do is just turn to face. The Pomeranian Battalion pivots on the spot. They're carrying 4 casualties, but they're not worn yet. And these guys are charging towards them. They will have 1 support from these guys here. They are from their battalion. They're from a different brigade, and they're not defensive, so they won't get a support from them. These guys are unformed, different brigade anyway, so they won't have a support. So they don't have any supports. They're just going forward by themselves, but desperate times demand desperate measures. Okay, so let's resolve this charge. Now, it must be noted that the French are not going to gain the post of honour reroll because they were in line formation and therefore had to use forwards to get into contact with the Prussian infantry. It's also worth noting there's no one that can give fire support in defence for these guys. These guys, well, obviously they're facing the wrong way. The skirmishers, their targets that are closer would be these guys, and they'd be threading a needle to shoot through it here, I think. So we're not going to do that. So these guys are going to be rolling 2 dice, and these guys are going to be rolling 2 dice, but they will get a reroll from these guys here, and that is it. The French will be red, and the Prussians will be white. Okay, well, the French are sitting on 4. The Prussians can re-roll this 1, so they will. Oh, so they've both got, it's a draw. Oh no, close to combat. Exception, cavalry versus square. Okay, so it's just a close to combat. Now, before we go on to any other possible charges, at the start of the command phase, units that have retreat markers, they get flipped to unformed, and at the end of the movement phase, these unformed will become, well, they'll come off completely. So that concludes this particular charge resolution, and let's move on to see if the Prussians have any charges. There's no more for the French to speak of. Okay, so there's no charge declarations from the Prussians. There would have been if it wasn't for those hesitant brigades going hesitant. This really has thrown a fly in the ointment for the Prussians. We'll now move on to movement, and the French have initiative, so they'll move first. So, the French movement, the brigade skirmish line from the 51st has moved off to support the battery. Essentially, these guys have reordered, as have the Swiss battalions and the other light infantry battalions. So they've reordered, removed their fire discipline. These guys have reordered, and the skirmishers from 2nd Brigade, 13th Division, they've advanced. And that's pretty much it, other than the fact that the voltigeurs of the Guard have advanced on the right slightly to the halfway point. They can't go beyond that because they need to redeploy order. Now we'll go on with Prussian movement. Oh, but before we do that, and the tirailleurs of the Guard skirmish lines moved across to envelop the Prussian Brigade skirmish lines. Okay, so here's the Prussian Guard infantry forwards movement bonus. Okay, 9 plus 6 is 15 so 15 inches on top of their normal movement. Okay, so Prussian movement. These the Guard Jaeger. They have formed a line. The brigade skirmish line has moved into the sand pit. The Guards battalion that was inside La Haye Sainte has come out. The veterans that were outside have gone in. They're now unformed, and the 1st Battalion of the Guards Foot has come forward. They've moved forward. The brigade skirmish line has realigned. This is the brigade skirmish line from the 1st Infantry Division. They've realigned to pour fire onto these guys. The Reserve Battalion and Fusilier Battalion of the 1st Infantry Division has moved up. What's really important is in the 2nd Brigade, the battalion that was here with the Nazis has done a retire to the 2nd line. They're back here with a retreat marker on them. These guys have formed line, and their brigade skirmish line is moved up to cover the front of them, so they don't get whaled. So the Guards, Prussian Guards Cavalry Brigade, they've moved up, and the horse artillery have unlimbered. So they've done a full move, 15 inches unlimbered, and these guys have gone 18 inches because they are cavalry columns. That's all the movement on this side for on table, tactical movement. And the only other tactical movement was over here, where we see these brigade skirmish lines have pulled in, and these battalions have stepped back so they don't get bounced through. And these 2 battalions have slightly advanced forward so they don't get bounced through. And so that's all the on table movement. So the French Reserve movement for the 12th Infantry Division, Panzernaul's Cavalry Brigade, has come on behind the guns. And then if we go all the way over to the right, the Guard Cavalry have arrived, and they've also deployed behind the gun line. So that's all the movement. So now it's shooting, and we start with the French. So the only French that are in a position to skirmishers that can deliver any shooting in this turn are these chaps here. They'll shoot at this Prussian line. 2 hits, that's 1 casualty. These guys will go up to 3. So now it is Prussian skirmisher fire. So the first lot of shooting will be from these brigade skirmish line in the sandpit at the gunners. 4 bases, 5 dice. 6, 6, 5, 4. Okay, that's going to be 4 hits, which is 2 casualties. I'll take them up to 5. The garrison in here, it's going to be 4 dice coming out. They're going to shoot at this column here. 6, 6, 3, 1. That's 1 hit, so they're going to go up to 4. But there's another 4 shots coming from there. Just 1 hit, so that's nothing. So just 1 casualty total on these guys. And then finally, way over yonder, this skirmish line at that French line. Again, it's only 4 bases. 3 bases, so 4 dice. And 1 casualty there. I'll apply those casualties and then we'll start with the artillery. So this battery here is going to fire onto that battery there. These guys are slightly over, they're over 3 inches from the back of the battery. I don't count the limbers. So from the rear of the battery, they're over 3 inches. There'll be no bounce through, but it is effective range. So it's going to be a standard shot from these guys here. Okay, so just 2 dice, standard battery fire. That's a 4 and that's a 2, that's 6. That's going to be just 1 hit on this battery. Okay, so this battery here is going to fire at the skirmishers, but they're within 3 inches, so they will get bounced through onto the line. So it's an inferior shot, but they have 2 dice for canister, and they have 2 dice because they're on artillery assault. 4 is a self-inflicted wound, I think, which is not good. They do get 2 hits, so 2 hits on the skirmish screen, and then we'll do the bounce through onto the line behind. Yeah, 4 is a fire casualty. Now, if you do that whilst on artillery assault, you're also going to go low on ammo. So they've caused a casualty on themselves. They're low on ammo. They have got 2 hits on these guys. Now for the bounce through onto the line or the penetrative fire, nothing there. You need a 4 or more. So 2 casualties on these guys. Now we have the guard horse artillery firing across. They're going to shoot. They're going to fire at the battery that's attempting artillery assault fire onto them. Well, not them, but they're the French. So it's 2 dice, but it's an inferior shot because it's long range. 4, they've hurt themselves too. Not good shooting from the French so far. And the final battery to fire, because these guys are hesitant, the final battery to fire, these 12-pounders, again, they're going to shoot at the Prussian battery on artillery assault. The reason they're doing this is if they can hit them, it causes them to shoot back at their guns rather than attacking the French infantry. So 2 shots, inferior. Whoa, that's good shooting, 10. So that's going to be 2 and a discipline test. We'll roll that now. They're line artillery, so they'll be testing as recruits. 9, they've passed. But they are going to have to return fire onto these guns rather than the target they wanted to attrit. They moved and unlimbered. It's going to be just a single CD. Now, normally I wouldn't do this, but they are on 5 casualties, so maybe we can get them to tip over. So a single CD. 4 up it needs. 4, and so that's a hit. So it was worth the effort. So that takes them to 6 casualties. That battery is now worn. Okay, so this battery here, it's now worn. It's unformed. Sorry, that was in the movement phase. It would have reordered. So it's worn, and it has artillery assault as its order. It was given a caisson to permit it to fire artillery assault, but now it's going to use that caisson to remove 2 casualties. And that'll take it down to 4. Now, with 4 casualties, though, it can't do artillery assault. So it's just going to do, it's just going to return fire. It'll just be an inferior shot at that 12-pounder battery for the range. Four, that's hurt itself. All right, he's up to 5 casualties. This battery obviously is hesitant, so no firing there. That's all the shooting done. So now we go to volleys. Okay, the French have 2 volleys with the Swiss. They also have 1 with the 51st, but we'll do the Swiss first. This battalion will fire obviously into the skirmish screen. This battalion will fire obviously into the column. Right. So what we're going to do is they'll fire with the red dice and they'll fire with the white dice. Do not get a CD for firing at this column at 3 inches because it's not a charging column at 3 inches. So it's got to be an infantry column charging at 3. So yeah, red, then white. This one will be inferior because they're shooting at skirmishers. Okay, 4, I don't think it's going to be anything, and 6, they're pretty anemic volleys generally speaking. The inferior volley with a 4 is, they've lost fire discipline. And for these guys here, 6, they might get 1 hit. Yep, it's one hit on these guys, so they'll go up to 8. Okay. Now, this battalion here could deliver a volley into these chaps, but they'll be firing a skirmish line, inferior, and into cover, weak. So a single CD, it's really probably not worth it. So they don't want to risk losing fire discipline because they might need to do something other. So now we'll just go to the volleys for the Prussians. The Guard Jaeger are going to fire at the battery, but the first hit will have to go on the skirmishers. They're in arc and they're within range. So there's no problem there. Or are they? Actually, no. So they're all going to have to fire at a veteran volley into these skirmishers. It'll be inferior, an inferior volley, but it will be with a CD because they are veterans. Oh, absolutely nothing. That's an atrocious volley. You call yourself veterans? That's shocking. They've lost fire discipline. So we go to the hand-to-hand combat phase, and the only hand-to-hand combat is this here. These guys are going to be rolling 5 dice. These guys are going to be rolling 5 dice, but they get Post of Honor, so that gives them another 2. All up, that gives them 7v5. The French are red, it should be obvious. 1, 2, 3, 4 to 2. So 6 inches straight back to the initial 6 inches. So then they get straight back is close, and yeah, they missed them too. Actually, they might just, they'll clip them, so they'll unform them as they go back. But yeah, that gets them back, and then they can rally behind them here. So that's where they'll retreat to. They've got their 8 casualties. They've gone back to there. They'll just clip these chaps as they go back, and unfortunately for them, they'll be unformed. Okay, so at the end of turn 6, let's have a top-down view, see how things are playing out. So here we have the Prussian Guard Cavalry Brigade, the Guard Jaeger, the Guard Brigade skirmish line in the sandpit, the second battalion of the Prussian Guard have come out of La Haye Sainte carrying their casualties, and the veterans of the, I think it's the 7th Regiment, they've gone in. They're attached to the Guard division. Then you've got the 1st Battalion of the Prussian Foot Guards there moving forward. You've had the repulse of the initial breakthrough here and the stalled breakthrough here by the Prussians, and it's turning into a bit of a bun fight in this area here. And then if we go across, we start to see a bit of some aggressive movement from Davout on his right flank, and some cautious tentative movements by Blücher on his left. So that's where we are at the end of turn 6. Roll for Marshal Davout's orders. Oh, he's only got 1. Okay, now we'll roll for Marshal Blücher's. Yeah, and he's only got 1 as well. They've both only got white orders. All right, easy to remember. Now we'll go for the ADCs. Okay, Prussian Guard Division. Well, they've got 2. Now we'll roll for the Prussian 1st Division. This is critical. Ah, much better. They've got 3 this time. 2nd Infantry Division. And they've got 3 as well. So the French 12th Infantry Division. 1, 2, 3, 4, double 6. They're going to have all 5. That's nice. The French 13th Infantry Division. They can roll 3 dice. Oh, sorry, 4 dice, because they have 3 brigades now. And they've got 3. And then the Prussian Guards. They've got 2. And I keep calling the French Imperial Guard Prussian Guard. I've got Prussian Guards on my brain. So they've got 2. Okay, brigade activations. Guards Division. two ADCs available. One's going to the Cavalry Brigade for a reroll, and one is going to the Infantry Brigade with Glory. We'll do the Infantry Brigade first because he is bold, and he's passed. The Cavalry Brigade, they have a reroll, but they've passed. So now we'll move on to the 1st Infantry Division. Now, the 1st Infantry Division, they've got 3 ADCs. Their first ADC they're getting to the 1st Brigade for just a reroll. So let's see how they go. They've passed. That's all good. Now, in a previous turn, the Prussians rolled a 6/6 for their initiative, which means they get an extra CNC task that is given to the Corps Commander, and that can be allocated to any brigade he wishes. So he's going to allocate that to the 2nd Brigade, and he's going to give them, now's your time. That's the other 2 ADCs used up. They automatically obey orders. We don't have to roll for them. So we're going to move on now to the 2nd Infantry Division. A reroll for this brigade, a reroll for the 2nd Infantry Brigade, and the 3rd one is going to be... And the 3rd one will be Scouts, because I really couldn't think of anything else to do with it. So now we roll for this brigade here. Yep, they've passed. And then the 2nd Brigade. Yes, they've passed. So no hesitant brigades. So now we will do the French. Okay, so the 5 ADCs for the 12th Infantry Division. They're going to give a reroll and glory to this brigade. They're going to give reroll and glory to the Swiss Brigade, and they're going to give a reroll to the Light Infantry Brigade. And this brigade here is bold, so he'll be fine by himself, I guess. So they're all getting rerolls. So the Cavalry Brigade, they've passed. The 51st Regiment, they've passed. The Swiss, they've passed. And the Light Infantry Brigade, they've passed. So no hesitant brigades, and they've got glory on the Swiss and the 51st Regiment. Okay, so for the 13th Infantry Division, this brigade has a reroll. They've passed, just. This brigade having a caisson allocated, artillery assault, and a reroll. The artillery caisson is to remove the low on ammunition marker. They've passed. And the artillery assault will come from the Guard artillery. And then this brigade over here, the 2nd Infantry Brigade, 13th Infantry Division, no reroll. And they've passed. So now we have the Guard, to the French Imperial Guard. The Guard Cavalry doesn't have an ADC, but they are bold. And they've passed. A reroll for the Voltigeurs of the Guard, passed, and a reroll for the Tréliers of the Guard, passed. Okay, so no brigades anywhere on the table are hesitant. Both CNCs, both Corps Commanders, Davout and Blücher, are both going to use Spy as their white order, so they both can make their opponent reroll their higher dice. But the Prussians also have Scouts, so they'll be able to re-roll one of their lower 2. So, first of all, we'll roll for Davout. Okay, 2 and a 4. The Spy is going to make Davout re-roll the 4, obviously, hoping to get lower, and he has. He's gone to 3. Now, we will roll for Blücher. Okay, he's going to make him re-roll the 6. Okay, even at that point, just with a neat 5, the Prussians have the initiative, so they don't need to use their scout. So it's turn 7, and the Prussians have the initiative. Charge declarations. So the Prussians have a couple of charges to declare. They'll start with the Prussian Guard Infantry. They have glory here. This single individual battalion is going to charge those chaps there. And for the Now's your time, 2nd Brigade, 1st Infantry Division. These guys here are going to charge these guys here. So these guys have charged, they've stopped 3 inches short. These guys could do nothing other than realign. So the worm has turned, they now find themselves in the same position they had the Prussians in. So they just realign. They'll have 1 reroll because they are elite. These guys will get 1 reroll because these guys are supports. They're from a different brigade, but they're defending, so that's okay. I thought for a moment they might not be able to get support, provide support, because any unit, close order unit, I think is within X amount of inches to their front, negates them. But I don't think a garrison is classed as a close order unit. So to that end, I'm going to let them have a reroll. So it's going to be 2 dice each, and both getting a reroll. The Prussians we'll roll for the Prussians first. Actually, we'll roll them simultaneously. The Prussians will be red and the French will be white. So Prussians are red and the French are white. All right, so okay, this is interesting. The Prussians are up by 1. The odds are they won't beat a 4, but they are down, so... All right, the odds are there's only a 2 in 6 chance, there's a 3 in 6 chance that they're not going to go, either they're going to stay as they are or go up, and there's a 2 in 6 chance that they will go, they'll be worse off. We're going to roll it. We'll roll it. We'll see what happens. Okay. It hasn't made that much difference. They're beaten by, they're defeated by 2. Defeated by 1 or 2 doesn't make any difference. So at the end of the day, it didn't make any difference. I'm pretty sure in charges, you win by 2. Yet the Prussians will combat with elan, and the French will go unformed. Okay, so this is the next charge we're doing. These guys here on 8 casualties, they're going to charge these guys here. Now's your time, so they get to volley before they charge. So they'll fire their 3 CDs. They will then return the volley, and then we'll go through the charge procedure. So the Prussian volley first. Whoa, 2 hits. I'll take them up to 3, but it's not enough to make them drop. So now the Swiss will return the volley. It's going to be just a standard volley. I'll have to check. Are Grenadiers classed as drilled? Yeah, Grenadiers. Grenadiers are classed as drilled, so they'll get an extra CD. So white are the firing, and red and blue. 1 is for an infantry column charging at 3 inches, and blue is for drilled. Okay, 2 hits, but a double 1 means they've lost fire discipline. That takes them up to 10. Ooh, this is not good. Now, I did forget, with now's your time, you recover 1 casualty, so their 10 goes back down to 9, and their 9 goes back down to 8. So that's the case. But regardless, they're still going to be rolling 3 dice and taking the lower 2. These chaps here are going to be rolling 2 dice. Neat. This unit here cannot provide a reroll, even though they're within 3 inches on the flank off to a side. But they've lost fire discipline, therefore they are classed as an inferior support, so no reroll. Okay, so we'll roll the charge resolution now. 2 dice for these guys, 3 for them, taking the lower 2. Obviously, the Prussians are red. So it's 7 to 4. I think that might be a repulse. They're defeated by 3. Yeah. So lead charge unit withdraws, takes 1 CD casualties. So we might as well roll that now. no hit on them. They just simply withdraw 18 inches. These guys are already unformed, so they would unform them again, but they'll just end up back here. So there are no other charges to declare. The problem the French have is with their cavalry here, they can't charge through their own skirmishers. They could send this regiment maybe through their guns and attempt to charge these guys, but they would go unsupported. But that might be worth the effort. Mind you, they will be catching fire from these skirmishers and, well, yes, from the skirmishers and the guns as they come through by themselves. But it is a juicy target. Something to contemplate, I guess. This is the veteran unit. So they'd only be going forward with line cavalry. Oh, geez. Then they'd be stuck out there by themselves and threatened to be, nah, that would be not wise. So after that agonising, no more charges. So now we go on to the movement phase, and the Prussians have the initiative. They'll move first. So all they could do was remove the fire discipline. So they've reordered, they'll redress their ranks to remove the fire discipline issue for them. Nothing going on here. The cavalry, the veteran cavalry, just moved in behind the elite to give them rear support if they decide to go forward. They've reordered in here. These guys did a withdrawal to the second line, so they're now back here with a retreat marker on them. This brigade skirmish line pulled back in. All these Prussian infantry are basically reordered, stepped forward, advanced, and that's pretty much it. And the only thing that's happened on the very quiet left flank is these brigade skirmish lines are slightly reoriented. And that's it for the Prussians. So now we'll do French movement. The French have pulled back their brigade skirmish line from near the gun line here so the cavalry can get up. They're shaping to do a charge. The column that was behind the line here is sidestepped, moved off to their left. These guys have stepped back. These guys have formed line. Fire discipline has been removed from those units that gained it last turn. But the 13th Infantry Division, you've got one infantry brigade moving off to their left, concerned about the apparent breakthrough on their left, and the 2nd Brigade is advancing. They can advance up to the halfway line without needing a redeploy order, so they've started, they're on their way, and that's it. That's all the French movement. And so now we go to shooting. We'll start with the skirmishers, then artillery, then volleys. Prussians have the initiative, so they fire first. Okay, so the first lot of skirmishers, this brigade skirmish line shooting at the battery. So it's 4 bases, 5 dice. 1, okay, 3 hits, 1 casualty. So they're now up to 7. And now the garrison will fire. I'll shoot at this column here. So it's 5 dice. Oh, 4 hits all up. They don't have the skirmish tasking, so the double 6 doesn't count. So that's going to take them up to 2 casualties, and they're going to reduce that French column to worn. And that's all the skirmish fire for the Prussians. Now for the French, the only skirmishes they have are none. So there's no skirmish fire to be done. And so now we'll go on to artillery. We'll start off with the Prussian horse artillery. So this Prussian horse artillery battery here will fire at the French battery. They're currently on 7. If they can get 3 hits, they'll disperse that battery, which would be pretty bad news for the French. just a standard battery fire. One's not a good start. 7, okay. That is going to be 1 hit, I'm pretty sure. Standard battery fire, yep. Just 1. Now these 2 Prussian batteries here, they're both going to fire at the French batteries. This one will fire at the 6-pounder battery, and then depending on how that goes, we'll decide which one this shoots at. Okay, so it's just inferior because of the range. This battery first at the French 6-pounders, 9. Inferior battery, what? Yeah, it's just 1 hit. Okay, so now they'll fire, these guys will fire at the horse artillery. 6, no hits at all. Now for the French batteries, this battery here is going to return fire on the horse artillery battery that inflicted a hit on them. So it's just a standard fire. 8, that's going to be 1 hit on these guys here. Actually, their fire is going to be inferior because they're worn, but regardless, it's still 1 hit. Now we'll go do the other French batteries. Okay, so first this battery here is going to return fire on the battery that hit it, and this battery here is going to fire onto this Prussian infantry column here. So we'll do that battery first. It's going to be an inferior shot, simply because of the range. Five, no hits, but no damage to themselves. And finally, the French Guard horse artillery shooting at this French column at long range. 8. It's going to be 1 hit on them. There's no bounce through because they're not within 3 inches. So now we have these batteries here, the Guard and the Line 12-pounders, firing onto, well, the Guard artillery will fire onto this battalion, and these chaps here will fire, well, they'll all concentrate onto this one battalion to try to get maximum impact. And the red dice will be the Guard artillery. Red is on the right. Wow, okay, so 12, okay, and a self-inflicted wound on these guys. So they take 1 hit on themselves because they've rolled a 4, but these guys have rolled a 12, so that's going to be a discipline test plus 2 or 3 casualties. Yeah, 2 casualties. We'll put those down and then they'll do a discipline test, and then we'll roll on the destiny. Okay, so the white dice will be the discipline test and the red dice will be the destiny roll. Okay, the white dice is the discipline test. 8, that's a pass. And on the destiny table, a 6. So a 6 is a unit immediately, the closest unit takes 2 CDs immediately. So that will be the reservist unit to the right of the target as we look at it. So they're 2 CDs. Oh, nothing. So they got off light. All right. So that just leaves volleys now. We'll do the volleys from these Prussian units here. They both have now's your time. So they'll fire with 2 extra CDs and they'll fire with 2 extra CDs. We'll do these guys first, and then obviously targets for both of them will be this battalion here. So this battalion will fire with a volley with 2 CDs. This will fire with 3 CDs, and the white one will be the primary volley dice. Because if it rolls a 1, it will lose fire discipline. So 3 CDs from him, and two normal shooting dice plus 2 CDs from the reservists. So this battalion here, the red is the dice, shooting dice, the white are the CDs. 8, that is going to be 2 hits for the 8 and 1 for the CD. So that's going to take him up to 6, 7. So he's now on 7 casualties. And now this battalion here, 3 dice, just 3 CDs. The white is the primary firing die. Oh, okay, 1, 2, 3. That's another 3 hits. So they're now up to 10 casualties. They'll now return fire onto this unit of reservists. It's an inferior shot because they're now worn. 6, I think it's going to be 1 hit. The only possible volley left is with these guys here, but the cavalry's out of range, and so is the battery. It's in arc, but only a couple of bases could actually hit. So no fighting. Sorry, no shooting there. So that's all the volleys done for all sides. So now we're going to resolve the hand-to-hand. So now we have just this combat to resolve. We'll do the Prussians first. So they start with 5. They go up to 6 with Glory. They go up to 7 with Elan. They're elites versus lower grade. So that's up to 8. And in the infantry modifiers, elite. So they go up to 9. So they've got a grand total of 9 dice. By contrast, these chaps here, they have start with 5, but they lose 1 because they're unformed, but they gain 1 because of Glory. So they're back up to 5. So it will be 5 plays 9. Let's get it on. Okay, so the Prussians are the red dice. 1, 2, 3. Well, they're going down swinging, if nothing else. 1, 2, 3, 4. So they put up a hell of a fight. Win by 1. Winner takes the ground unformed, loser retreats. So he'll take his 4 casualties, he'll take 3, he'll retreat, he'll unform these guys, and then he'll stop behind them in here with 4 casualties. Now we simply have to roll for the brigade commander because he was using Glory but suffered a retreat result. If he rolls a 1, he falls off his horse. Whoa, close, but no cigar. And that ends turn 7. So here's the situation. It's 12:30 hours on the 20th. Prussian Guard Cavalry Brigade here on the right. Panzernau's Dragoon Brigade just over here. And we can see the Prussians again continuing to push hard to the left of La Haye Saint. Every time they seem to get a breakthrough, they stall though, battalions going unformed, and they can't attack if they're unformed, so that's happening. But now we've seen a lot more movement now on the French right. So Davout, it looks like, is shaping to launch the Young Guard and the 13th Infantry Division on an offensive onto the Prussian left wing. But like I said, the Prussians, they still have off table 2 cavalry brigades, 1 cavalry brigade attached to each of the Prussian infantry brigades. So they could both, they could mass their cavalry in here, or they could have 1 cavalry brigade over here and 1 here. And of course, they still have the entire Dutch-Belgian division of 2 infantry brigades and a cavalry brigade that come on as well, together with all their associated artillery. It's looking very grim for Davout, unfortunately. Still, if they can hold on until Napoleon arrives, the worm could turn. So we shall see as we now move in to this turn, where it is now turn 8. So we'll roll for Blucher's orders, and he's got them all. And so now we're going to roll for Davout's orders, and he's only got red and blue. Okay, the Prussian Guards Division, they've got 1. The Prussian 1st Infantry Division, they've got 3. And now we'll roll for the Prussian 2nd Infantry Division. They've got 3 as well. Now the French 12th Infantry Division, they've got 4. The French 13th Infantry Division, they've got 2. And finally, the French Guards Division, they've got 2. Oh, it's a freezing cold day outside. Air conditioners going in the background, so I'm sorry about that noise, but geez, it's cold. Okay, so Prussian Guard Cavalry Brigade, they have simply got a re-roll. They'll need it. Oh, they pass. Guards Infantry Brigade, they've got nothing, but they do have a bold commander. Oh, and they've just passed as well. Okay, 1st Infantry Division, 1st Brigade. They have infantry assault, and they're using the core ADC. So that's the CNC tasking. They're using red. So it's infantry assault with a reroll. With a reroll. Oh, they've gone hesitant. Okay, so that leaves the 2nd Infantry Brigade. They have infantry assault with a reroll. Oh, they passed. Okay, so the 2nd Infantry Division, 1st Brigade, they're going with a reroll and reserves. They're going to try and get their cavalry brigade on. And they've passed. And then this 2nd Brigade is simply got a reroll. Oh, in the box or it doesn't count. And they've passed. Okay, so that's the Prussians done. Let's go over to the French. Okay, the 12th Infantry Division, their cavalry brigade. He's a bold commander, so he just gets. Yep, they're fine. A re-roll for the 51st Regiment. Well, let's roll to 1. It's not in the box, it doesn't count. 5, so they've passed. A re-roll for the Light Infantry Brigade. 1. 5, they've passed. A re-roll and glory for the Swiss. They've passed. The 13th Infantry Division, 1st Brigade, a re-roll. They've passed. The Artillery Brigade with a re-roll. They've passed. Their core ADC is going to be allocated to this brigade here. So Davout is using his core ADC for that. So they'll have a re-roll. And they've passed. Now we have the Young Guard Cavalry Brigade, commanded by a bold commander. Oh, they've gone hesitant. All right. Then we have the Tirailleurs of the Guard. No re-roll for them, just a straight up roll. They're fine. And then finally, way over yonder, we have a re-roll with redeploy because they want to go onto the offensive. Fail. Pass. All right, so only one hesitant brigade for the French. Okay, roll for initiative now. French are red, Prussians are black and white. There's no dice modifications because there's only one hesitant brigade per side. And the French have the, it's 6 all. I think in this case, I think it's the side. I'll have to check the core rules. It might be the French automatically get the initiative, or it could be the side that had the initiative last gets it. So I'll have to check. So the side that had the initiative last turn holds the initiative in the next turn. So the Prussians had the initiative because they had the initiative last turn. Now, with that said, the Prussians are going to use Steady the Bucks, and they're going to remove this hesitant marker. So that will make this brigade obeying orders, but at the cost of handing over the initiative to the French. So now we go to charge declarations. The situation is pretty grim for the French at the moment. All 3 brigades present here, the Prussian Guard Infantry, the 1st Brigade, 2nd Brigade, 1st Division, all of these can launch charges. This one would have to be just an individual battalion, the same as the Prussian. Oh, they can't, they're unformed. they want to take, but either way, probably this battalion here is probably going to charge them. And this brigade here will probably charge them. So that'll be the lead battalion. That would be the support. That would be the support, and they would charge them. They're at 10. They're in no position. If they launch a charge, they only have to get a volley with 2 casualties, and they'll just go pop. But the French want to relieve the pressure somewhere off them. So what they're going to do is they're going to declare a charge with the 12th Division's 12th Division Cavalry Brigade. These guys here on these guys here, because that's a pretty good target. They're in line. That said, they are veterans, so they might be able to form square. Yes, that will expose them. That will leave them out there a bit, but they've got to do something. So they're going to go with that. So these guys are veterans. They're in line, being charged by cavalry. They would test as veterans normally, but because they are in line, they are demoted by 1. So they'll be testing as line. So they need a 7 to pass. 2 and 6. Whoa, just 8. So they'll form square. So the situation is both these units are veterans. None of them got supports. So no re-rolls there. Oh, sorry, they both get 1 re-roll for being veterans. So, but they're both rolling 2 dice. So with that said, we will do our dice rolls now. The Prussians, okay, 5. The French cavalry, 5. All right, well, the Prussians, they don't want to do anything. The French cavalry, even if they roll a 6, I don't think it's going to make any difference. It's 7. Prussian's going to roll that 2. Yeah, stays the same. So it's a victory by a grand total of 2. Against the square, it's really not going to be much at all. Cavalry versus infantry. If versus square, cavalry withdraw and they take 1 CD, and the square takes 1 CD. The red will be the the red will be the French. No hits on the French, but 1 hit on the square. And then the cavalry will withdraw. So that will place them behind the other cavalry. Okay, so now we'll do the Prussian charge declarations. This battalion will charge these unformed guys here. And this battalion on infantry assault will charge these guys with these guys in support. So we'll do this one here, just that single battalion going forward on these unformed guys here. Okay, so these guys respond. They can't get a re-roll from these guys. They're unformed. These guys have lost fire discipline, so if they do fire in support, it'll be an inferior volley. But they would probably be more likely to support their own brigade. They are closer to these guys, however. So we'll give them, they'll opt to take the volley, the fire support volley from these guys here. So it's an inferior volley. It's not at a column charging at 3 inches because they're 3 inches away from them and they're the target. So it'll be an inferior volley at these guys here. So here's their volley at them. 8. Well, that's not bad, even for an inferior volley. That might do something. So let's have a look here. Inferior volley, rolling an 8. Consulting our handy-dandy battlefield accessories. So inferior volley, he's rolled an 8. That's 1. So it's 1 casualty on these guys so far. And then these guys will fire. They're unformed. They're they're well worn, so that will be a weak volley. It's another hit, so that's 2 casualties all up. I'm going to give them the skirmish fire from here, but there's only 2 bases there, so it's going to be one. Yeah, it's 2 bases. It's only 1 hit, which is nothing. Okay, so 2 casualties on them, and now we'll go to resolving the charge. I did forget to add, they also get a CD because it's a column within 3 inches. So that's a CD. So that's a hit. So they're going to be on 3 casualties. So that's telling, because they'll have to roll 3 dice and take the lower 2. Okay, so these guys are going to roll 3 dice, taking the lower 2 because they incurred 3 casualties in the charge. These guys are going to be rolling 4 dice, taking the lower 2 because they're unformed and they're over 6 casualties. So obviously the French will be the red dice. Sorry, the Prussians will be the red dice and the French will be the white. Okay, a 6 and a 2 and a 6, so they take the lower 2, so it's a 6 and a 2. Wow, I tell you what, these Frenchmen are putting up a hell of a fight. A 6, 6, a 6, and a 2. So they're also going to take a 6 and a 2. So it's going to come down to these 2 rolls here. Oh, 5 and a 1. All right, so these guys have won by 1. So a -1, halt and volley, lead unit unformed, defender stand. So they're going to halt and they're going to volley. So they'll pull, it's just 1 CD into them. And that's a hit. So they'll now go up to 10 casualties. These guys are unformed with 3 casualties on them. So now we have this charge to resolve. Now they're charging with 1, 2 supports because they've got infantry assault. They're charging these guys here. These guys have got their brigade commander attached with glory. So the first thing they're going to do is they'll respond with a volley. So these guys will come forward. They'll shoot at them. They'll have to share the hits evenly across them because that's the lead charge unit. But they're at 3 inches basically now. So it'll be an inferior volley because they are worn, but they do get 1 CD because they're firing at a column charging at 3 inches from them. So we'll do the volley first. Okay, so the red dice of the volley. Wow, 12 plus 1. You cannot get any better than that. So even with an inferior volley, rolling a 12, it's going to be 3 and a discipline test. Plus that other hit there, that's going to take them up to 4. So they have to do a discipline test. But they are, they're just standard line. 8. They love it. Bring it on, they say. Now we do the destiny roll. 8 again on the destiny table. And that is infantry firing, recover 1 casualty. 1 casualty. So they go from 10 down to 9. 1 casualty and may make a free move, though I don't think that applies during a charge. That's interesting. Well, they're the target of a charge, so I think it would be unrealistic to say that they could move. So, these guys now have 4 casualties on them. Actually, no, they'll have 2. 2 here and 2 here because they're coming forward. And so they have to spread the hits across both units. So 2 hits on them, 2 hits on them. And we still have the battery to fire. So we'll do them in a moment. So the battery can fire in support because they can't offer a reroll, so they might as well do the shooting. So the red is the shooting dice and the white are the CDs. They're firing canister. Oh, wow, 10. So that's going to be at least 2 hits. Plus the 6, it's going to be 3. I'll just check artillery. Standard battery fire, it's 3, 4 hits all up. So these guys are now on 6. And they have to do a discipline test. They are, ooh, this is interesting. They are reservists. So they'll be testing as recruits. 6, I think we'll see them go unformed. Let's have a look. Recruits and reservists, they drop down to enfants pedant. They retreat. Okay, so they're driven off. So they're going to get a retreat. They're going to go 18 inches all the way back. They will get bounced through onto this unit here because they were sort of like to the rear. So 1 bounce through or penetrative fire from the canister. 6. Yeah, that's another 1. It will unform them as well. So they'll go up to 9 and they'll be unformed, which might make them an invalid support in the charge. We'll soon see anyway. So these guys are going to be rolling, the Prussians are going to be rolling 2 dice neat, no re-rolls because they're unformed. These guys are rolling 3 dice because they're carrying over 6 casualties, but they are Grenadier versus lower quality, so they'll get a re-roll. They'll be the Swiss will be the white dice. Okay, so the Prussians are on 9, and that's as good as it gets for them. The little piggies are 1. So they're on 3 at this point. They'll re-roll the 1, obviously, and hope to get, well, even if they roll a 6, they're going to be in trouble. 5, they've given it a red-hot shove. So it's 7 to 9. They lose by 2. I think that means they're going to go unformed. Infantry, they win by 2. Combat with alarm, defender unformed. All right, so these guys are going to go unformed, and these guys are going to get the alarm bonus, which they can have because they are Prussians in column. Okay, so that's all the charge declarations done. So now we'll go to movement. The French have the initiative, so they will move first. Okay, so for movement, there's been a fair bit. A lot of rearranging of the French lines here. Units that were on retreat markers have gone to unformed. Units that were unformed have gone to formed. Most notably, the Prussian veteran battalion that was in the BUA of La Haye Sainte, or Strong Point, they've come out, and the battalion that was in there originally has gone back in. A caisson was used on this battery here. I forgot to mention that earlier. They were on 8 casualties. It was either a case of withdraw, emergency limber, or use a caisson. Obviously, the caisson's a better option. So they're back down to 6 casualties. Still worn, but less likely to get blown away. The 2nd Infantry Brigade, the 1st Infantry Brigade, 13th Infantry Division, moving to cover what seems to be an impending collapse that never seems to actually happen of the French 13th Infantry, 12th Infantry Division. The 2nd Brigade of the 13th Infantry Division is advancing. The skirmish screen goes forward. Same with the Young Guard. The Voltigeurs of the Guard Brigade have carried out their redeploy and they're now going on the offensive. And the Tirailleurs of the Guard are abandoning Hougoumont also to go on the offensive. They'll need a redeploy order to cross the centre line. But for the Prussians, they've also got a lot going on. As the French skirmishers advanced. The Prussian skirmishers thought better of it and have fallen back behind their lines. They're not playing this silly game. Getting into a shooting match, they'll probably lose. But the 13th Division's, the 2nd Infantry Division's Cavalry Brigade has arrived. The Dragoons and Brunswick Hussars. So that should put paid to any ideas of French skirmishers marauding. And just a lot of reordering, and you can see here this 1st Division, 1st Brigade battalions are advancing aggressively in the centre. They're pretty keen to try and break this, break the French. So now we'll go to shooting, and again the French have the initiative thanks to the steady debuffs that the Prussians played. So we'll start with skirmishers. The only skirmisher fire for the French, actually there's none. They've got none, because the skirmishers from the Light Infantry Brigade, they can't get into the fight. There's just not enough room for them anymore, so they're back here. These guys have already contributed. They fired in the charge phase. All the other skirmishers are out of range. The garrison has just moved in here unformed. They could fire for the Prussians. So we'll do the Prussian skirmishers, and then we'll go into artillery fire. Before we do that, I'll just do a bit of an overhead view. So you can see there's the Prussian Guard Cavalry Brigade. These chaps who've just formed square. In the centre area here, we can see the big push by the Prussian infantry in here. Over here we see 1st Brigade, 13th Infantry Division coming to the rescue. And then over here we see the advance of the Young Guard, Voltigeurs, and movement on Davout's right flank. But really what's really important at the moment is we see how this melee hand-to-hand combat here will play out, and some firing over here is going to be pretty important as well, because there are some French units that are very close to dissolving. That said, there are some Prussian units that are close to breaking as well, or dispersing. So that's the situation. We'll get into the shooting, and then we'll wrap up this turn. Actually, the French do have one lot of skirmishers. These guys here. 4 dice at the square. Oh, 3 hits. 1 casualty. They'll go up to 5. Now the Prussian skirmishers in the sandpit. They're going to shoot at the battery. 4 bases, 5 dice. 3 hits, 1 casualty. These guys will go back up to 7. Now the garrison, unformed and worn. So normally 5 down to 3, and they'll have a shot at this line here. Well, they all hit though, so that's going to be 1 casualty on the 1st Battalion of the 51st Regiment. So now it's artillery fire, and we'll start with this battery here. They're worn, and they'll fire at the Prussian horse artillery. 7's going to be 1 hit. They'll go up to 3 casualties. Now, the French Guard horse artillery, they're going to fire onto the infantry battalion that's just here. Just an inferior shot because of the range. There's no bounce through. 4, okay? They've hurt themselves. So they'll go up to 2 casualties. Now the 12-pounders and the Guard. These 12-pounders here, they're going to fire at the Brunswick Hussars. So it's an inferior shot due to the range. 4, they've hurt themselves. Well, I guess the Guard artillery will do the same. 2 dice, inferior. 8, 1 hit. They will get bounced through to the Dragoons. No, but they have done a hit on the Brunswick Hussars. So now the Prussian artillery. This battery here is going to fire onto the 6-pounders. because they've been causing a lot of trouble for the French, and they have 5 casualties, so they want to wear them. So we'll do that, and depending on how that goes, we'll pick a target for them. But we'll do the 2nd Division's artillery first. Just an inferior shot because of the range. 8, that's going to be 1 hit. They'll contribute to the same target. So 1 hit so far on them. 6 is nothing. Okay, well, at least they're worn. Now the Prussian horse artillery, they're going to fire at these guys. Just a standard shot. 2 dice. 10. Okay, so that's going to be, I think, 3. Let's consult our also oh so useful battlefield accessories widgets. So a standard battery, rolled a 10, did not move. 3. That's going to take them to 10 casualties, and I think that's going to destroy that battery. Yeah, that's a discipline test. 3 casualties. There's no point in doing a discipline test. That battery's destroyed, which means the 51st Brigade will falter. Okay, because of the faltering occurring from the artillery fire, the effects of the falter happen immediately, which means that this battalion here that could have fired at an arc is reduced to firing directly to a front because faltering has the same impact as hesitant. Therefore, they cannot fire at these guys that have just emerged from La Haye Sainte. So, moving along, the next volley we have, and I think the only volley for the French, is this battalion here, and they will fire on the 1st Battalion of the Guards Foot Regiment. Okay, so they are worn, so it's going to be an inferior volley. 2 dice. Still, they've rolled a 10. That's going to hurt. So they'll have to do a discipline test. They are elite. And they've rolled an 8, so they've passed. They're now going to volley into these guys here. They are elite, so it's going to be 1 dice. It's a weak volley, plus they'll get the 1 CD for being drilled. 2 hits. Okay, that's going to take them up to 12, and that will destroy this battalion. So now this brigade is faltering. Now, I did say they get an extra CD for being drilled. They're not drilled, they're elite. So it's 1 weak volley because they're in column, and 1 because they're elite. If they were veteran in line or drilled in line, they could have got an extra CD, but they're not in line, so they're just in column. Right, so that's all the volleys done. There's no more volleys to be had, so now we're going to go into hand-to-hand combat. And the only hand-to-hand combat we have to resolve is this one here between the Swiss and the Prussian, I think they're the 9th Regiment. Yep, the 9th Regiment's Fusilier Battalion. Okay, these guys are going to have 5 dice to start with, plus 1, that'll take them up to 6. These guys will have 5. They'll gain 1 for glory, 6, but they'll lose 1 for being unformed, down to 5. So it'll be 6 v 5. They're also worn, so they'll go down to 4. So it's 6 v 4. Okay, so the Prussians are the red. 1, 2, 3, 4 hits by the Prussians. 2 hits from the French. 4 will destroy them, so they'll falter. Now we roll to see if the brigade commander falls off his horse. He doesn't. But this brigade is faltering now also. So all 3 brigades from the 12th Infantry Division are all faltering simultaneously. That is the absolute worst possible situation. Core orders. Okay, black, blue, and white. No red. Blue shirts, core orders. Well, he's got them all. Prussian Guards Division, they've got 2. Prussian 1st Infantry Division, they've got 4. And Prussian 2nd Infantry Division, they've got 4. Okay, so there's a maximum of 5 ADCs available for the French 12th Infantry Division. They have 3 brigades faltering simultaneously. They need at least 3 ADCs just to keep the brigades, give them a chance. So we're going to roll their 5 and see what they get. Okay, they have 3 ADCs. All 3 of those ADCs have to go to the brigades or the divisional commander to shore up divisional morale, which means all of them will be rolling on the faltering brigade table without a reroll to use. So we're going to do, we'll start off, I guess we'll start off with the 51st Regiment. So the 51st Regiment, 1st Brigade, 12th Infantry Division. Okay, that's not good. The Light Infantry Brigade. And the Swiss Brigade. Well, they've passed. We've yet to roll for the Cavalry Brigade, but he is bold. We'll come back to him in a minute. But for the situation is that the 51st Regiment, which is the 1st Brigade, 12th Infantry Division, they are wavering, so they retain the faltering moniker, and they will have to roll CDs. The Light Infantry Brigade, again, faltering, same as before. The Swiss, they've rallied, but they go from faltering to hesitant. So that's the 12th Division. We just have to roll for their cavalry. For the Cavalry Division now, get that out of the way. He is bold. And why not? Seeing all these infantry collapsing, he's gone hesitant as well. Now we'll roll for the French 13th Infantry Division. They've got 3. And now the French Guards Division with their 3 brigades. And they've got 3 as well. Okay, so now we'll roll for brigade activations. Voltigeurs of the Guards, they simply have a reroll. They've passed. The Tirailleurs of the Guard, they have a reroll and redeploy. They want to go on the offensive. They've passed. The Guard Cavalry, they've just got an inbuilt reroll. And they've passed. Okay, moving along. So this brigade here has a reroll, but before we go on with that, the divisional order is for the corps commander is divisional order. So he's going to change the 13th Division. So this brigade here, and the artillery brigade to go onto the offensive. So they can now attack. So that order has been issued, and this unit has been given just a reroll, and they've passed. The artillery has a reroll. They've passed. And the brigade, 1st Brigade, has a reroll. They've got a reroll. Oh, they've gone hesitant. Right, so that's all the brigades for the French done. They have a grand total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 brigades, either hesitant or faltering. Now, before we move on to the Prussian brigades, we have to do the CDs for each of the wavering battalions. So this battalion here, faltering brigade, it rolls 2 CDs and takes 1 hit. The battalion beside it takes 1 hit, so they go up to 2 now. The next battalion along, they take a hit, so they're now up to 7. This battalion here, 2 CDs, 2 hits, they're now up to 6. The battalion behind it, 2 CDs, 1 hit, they go up to 2. And I think that's it, because the Swiss brigade has rallied. So that's all the CDs rolled. that's the state of play for the French. Now we will go over to the Prussians. Okay. Guards Cavalry Brigade, they have a forwards order, and they've passed. The Guards Infantry Brigade, they have nothing, essentially, but he is a bold commander, and he is passed. Moving on to the 1st and 2nd Division. The 1st Infantry Division, the 1st Brigade, which is these guys in here. Infantry Assault, Glory with a reroll. And they've passed. And this brigade here, the 2nd Brigade, just straight up Glory, no reroll. Risk it for a biscuit, and they've gone hesitant. Totally understandable. 2nd Infantry Division, 1st Brigade, Artillery Assault with a reroll, and a caisson's been allocated. And they've passed. These guys here, nothing, just a straight up roll, they've passed. And the Cavalry Brigade with a reroll, and they've passed. So that's that done. Now there is a core order in place, and it's release a brigade. So the Cavalry Brigade from the Dutch-Belgian division is being called forward. How long is it going to take to get here? 2 turns. So we're at the start of turn 9, not turn 10, but it will arrive at turn 11. Now we roll for the initiative. For every brigade, so for every division that has 2 hesitant brigades, you get an extra 1 dice added. So in the case of the French, they have 1 division that has, well, more than 2 hesitant brigades. So that's an extra dice for them. The Prussians, they'll be rolling 2. Prussians are white. Lower 2, okay. The lower 2, this is the story of this game. For the French, they're 3, so the Prussians have got the initiative. But in addition to that, because the Prussians have rolled a double 6, they get another CNC's command, which is held at divisional headquarters by Blucher for him to use as he sees fit. Okay, so charge decks, well, there's lots. These guys have got forwards, so they're going to attempt to charge this regiment here. So they'll get an extra 2 CDs plus 6 of movement. 6 plus 6 is 12. On top of their 18, so that's going to be 30. Will they reach? Let's have a look. Yeah, it's 28 inches away, so they're going to reach. So these guys go charging off. You can interpenetrate your own guns. These guys will have to scatter. So they take a CD's worth. Yeah, and then they go skedaddling back to here, unformed. They'll stop at the 3-inch mark. Okay, so both will start with 2 dice. They'll get a reroll from these chaps, and they'll get a reroll from them, but they'll also get a reroll for being elite, and they'll get a reroll for being heavy cavalry versus battle cavalry. So 3 rerolls for the 3 rerolls total for the Prussians, 1 reroll for the French. The Prussians will be red. Okay. So the French have a 4 at the moment. And the Prussians have 1 and 2. The French have a 1. They'll re-roll it using these guys here. And they've gone up to 7. The French will re-roll, sorry, the Prussians will re-roll their 1. And they've gone up to 6. They're up by 1 at this stage. They'll re-roll the 2. And now, okay, so they're going to be up by a grand total of 3. Combat with Elan, defender goes unformed. So they'll gain Elan, and the French cavalry will go unformed. Okay, so there's 1 charge. I've already put down the smoke. These guys are going to deliver a volley as this battalion here charges towards these guys. Since they're just simply pivoted, they've moved, they've stopped at the 3-inch mark. They're outside of arc of these guys. These guys are unformed because they're faltering. These guys are unformed, they're faltering. It's an inferior volley because they're unformed and because they'll also clip these guys, so it's a partial, but they lose some of it, and they're also worn. So it's a single CD, a weak volley at these guys as they go charging forward. One, they miss. That means they'll also lose fire discipline as well, but at this point, it's neither here nor there. These guys move to the 3-inch mark, and now we'll resolve the charge. These guys cannot get a support from them. They're unformed. They can't get support from them. They're unformed. And besides, they're fired. They've already used up their support. These guys are going to be rolling 2 dice. These guys are going to be rolling 3 and taking the lower 2. And these guys will get a re-roll because they are veterans. So, 3 dice, taking the lower 2. Obviously, the French are white. Okay, they're on 6. Well, the Prussians are on 2 at this stage, but they've got their veteran re-roll. 5. So they're going to lose by 1. I think what that means is a halt and volley. So they'll do that now. They are veterans, and they are in column. So it will be weak. 1 hit. Okay, so the next charge we have is in here. And these guys are going to charge, they're going to charge these guys here. They're not in front of these guys, so they can charge through here. Actually, we'll do this brigade's charge first, actually. This brigade, with glory, this battalion here is going to charge these guys there. All right, so it's a single battalion going forward. They're essentially at the 3-inch mark anyway. So I'll get that one resolved before we move on to this one. So it's a standard volley with 1 CD. They are grenadier quality, so they're classed as drilled. So that's a 2nd CD. I'm pretty sure grenadiers are classed as drilled. I better check. Grenadiers are drilled. So red is the shooting dice. The white are the CDs. Okay, the red, they've rolled a 7. So I think that's going to be 1 casualty. And then we'll complete the charge process. Actually, it's 2, and that's critical because these guys will go up to 6. But there's no discipline test because the firers were not elite. So we will now resolve. They get 3 dice, taking the lower 2 because they've taken 3 casualties in the charge. And these guys are rolling 2 dice neat. The Swiss will be the red dice. So it's 6 plays 4. So again, halt, unformed, and volley. So it's a single CD back at the Swiss, and it's a miss. So that's that charge. Now we'll resolve the charge by these guys here. So they've now launched their charge through here. These guys will get to fire before they evade. So it's going to be 5 dice because it's a brigade skirmish line. Three hits, 1 casualty. So they'll take 1 hit. So we might as well just mark that with this for now. Okay, now these guys here unformed. So it's going to be an inferior volley, but it is at a column, infantry column charging. So 5 is going to be, well, that's nothing. 5, I think an inferior volley is also nothing. It might be 1. I'll have to check. Yep, 5 is 1. So they're now on 2 casualties. So it's not enough to cause any kind of change to their situation. So the situation is they'll be rolling 2 dice, neat. They can't get, the infantry assault can't go supported because these guys, if they maintain their relative position, they'd have to go through these, pass through these guys here. Or hang on, I think you can clip a unit. So actually they will be there. So they'll get a re-roll for because it's an infantry assault, these guys here. So they'll get one re-roll for that. So they'll roll 2 dice, taking with a re-roll, and these guys will roll 3 dice, actually 4 dice, because they are worn and unformed. So 4 dice for them, taking the lower 2, and 2 dice for these guys with a re-roll. Okay, so the Prussians will be the red. Okay, the lower 2 is the 4 and the 1. They've got a 6 and a 3. Well, that's a difference. That's a difference of 4. They could re-roll the 3 and go up to 5. So 11 plays 5. That's a difference of 6. I think that's going to be a victory result. I'm not 100% sure if this re-roll is legitimate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to downgrade the victory result to just simply a 4-5 result, which means these guys will retreat. That takes them off the board anyway, and they'll be destroyed. The brigade falters again, but that's all right. It's already faltering. Nothing changes there. And these guys will simply take the ground. Right. So these guys will flee off the table. Not surprising, really. And these chaps take the ground. So now we go across to the left flank of the Prussians, and we have another charge. This time it's these Prussian dragoons, and they're going to declare a charge on the voltigeurs of the guard. So they're well within range, they're obeying orders. They'll go forward with these guys in support. So we'll do that. So they charge to within 3 inches. The skirmishers will have to evade. They'll take 1 CD's worth of casualties and then flee away unformed. Yep, they take 1 hit and they'll end up unformed to the rear of these guys. Then we'll do the charge procedure. The situation here is the dragoons will get a re-roll for their support. The young guard will get a re-roll for being veterans versus lower grade. They'll get a re-roll for the supports, so that's 3, and they'll get a re-roll for being infantry in column charged by cavalry. So that is 4 re-rolls. So the Prussians will be the red, and the French will be the white. All right, so pretty atrocious. So the Prussians will take their re-roll first, and they're up to 7. First re-roll, not good. Second re-roll, yeah, that's pretty good. They could take the re-roll here, and they will. Oh, okay, that's pretty good. It's 12 versus 7. That's a difference of 5. They can't get any better than that. Cavalry versus infantry. All units withdraw with 1 CD casualties, and the defenders stand with 1 CD cavalry. So they'll withdraw. That will put them right to the edge of, well, that's, yeah, they're in column formation, so 18. That's going to get them right back to the edge of the table. So 1 CD on the infantry. Yep, they take a hit. And 1 CD on the Prussian cavalry. And they don't. So they've gone forward, inflicted casualty on these guys, and then bolted away. So they're all the way back here now. Now the question might be asked, why launch such a futile charge? Well, the whole purpose of this charge for the Prussians was to delay them. So they've gone forward with this gutsy charge. They've been repulsed, but because these guys have been involved in the charge procedure, they won't be able to move in the movement phase. And the whole purpose of this charge was to delay them. So that's what they've done. So that's all the charges completed. So now we'll go on to movement phase, because there are no charges for the French to declare. Okay, so let's go around and have a look at some of the movement that's occurred. The Prussian columns in this 2nd Brigade of the 2nd Infantry Division have moved up in support of their lines, and the brigade skirmish line has gone out. Obviously, they're on hiding to nothing, but they're not interested in winning the skirmish fight. They're there simply to delay and to screen their own troops. These guys here advanced slowly just so they could get out of the 12-inch dead zone from their own guns, because these guys were on artillery assault. And these battalions here have moved off to predominantly to support this battalion. Over on the Prussian right flank, essentially units that were unformed have reordered. Battalions that could advance have, namely this battalion here, and the Fusilier battalion from the 1st Brigade, 1st Division has moved up as well. Over on the extreme Prussian right, the Guard Jaeger that were in square have changed formation and then moved to here, which is being veteran, not a problem at all. So they've done that. So now the French movement. So for the French movement, the other thing that's really worth noting is the brigade skirmish line from this Hesitant Brigade has stepped forward. The brigade skirmish lines are not affected by hesitancy, so they've come through here to lend at least a little bit of fire support to the beleaguered 12th Infantry Division. The 2nd Brigade from the 13th Infantry Division is advancing. The brigade skirmish screen has moved off to the left because these columns just want to bully on through. They want to get to grips with those Prussians. The Guard Cavalry, the Young Guard Cavalry, has come forward. Unfortunately, they're going to mask their own guns, at least this battery anyway. The Old Guard will still be able to fire. They'll find targets. But they need to get moving forward, and it's just an unfortunate fact that that's going to result in their guns being masked. And the Tréliers of the Guard, again, they're pushing forward a full move, and their brigade skirmish screen is covering their flank. So that's all the movement. So now we'll go to firing, and the Prussians have the initiative, so they'll fire first. So we have 2 Prussian skirmish screens here, one from 2nd Brigade, one from the 1st Brigade of 2nd Division. So they'll fire. These guys will fire at that brigade skirmish line. These guys are going to fire at this battalion here, knowing though the first casualty will have to go onto this skirmish screen because they are in arc and range. So 5 bases here, 4 bases, so that's going to be 5 dice. Wow, 4 hits, 2 casualties. So 2 casualties on that brigade skirmish line. And then here, again, 4 bases, 5 dice. And 1, 2, only 3, so 1 hit all up, and it'll have to go onto the brigade skirmish line. So we now have these guys in the sandpit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bases. 5 dice. They'll shoot at the column. And in here, we have a garrison, 4 dice because they're worn, shooting at these guys here. So the 5 dice from these guys onto the column. That one's cocked. 5, 4. So, okay, 3 hits, 1 casualty. So 1 casualty on them, and then 4 from the garrison out to the line. Oh, absolutely nothing. Okay, so that's all the Russian skirmishing done. These French are going to return the favour. They'll shoot at that brigade skirmish screen. They're going to shoot at this column, but the first hit will have to go onto that skirmish line there. So it's 6 dice from each because there's 5 bases. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 6 here. 1, 2, 3. So that's going to be 1 casualty on that brigade skirmish line. And then 6 dice again for the 5 bases. And 1, 2. Okay, 1. So it'll be 1 casualty and 1 casualty. And now just 2 bases. Plus the brigade skirmish line. So that's 3 dice at this column here. 1 hit, So no casualties. Now it's artillery fire. Okay, this battery here is an artillery assault. Let's have a look. They're fine. No one's within a foot of the battery. That's fine. Okay, they're all going to fire at the guard cavalry because really that's probably the biggest threat, and they're getting masked otherwise by all this infantry in here. So they're going to engage the guard cavalry. So they're going to engage the 1st Regiment of Eclairs, which are the ones with the gendarmes, the elite attached to them. This battery's hesitant, so it's not firing at anyone. 2 dice inferior, but on artillery assault, so the white dice will be the CDs. Okay, they've rolled a 9, but they've got no hits with these CDs. Inferior battery, ain't consulting our handy dandy battlefield accessories. Inferior battery, rolling a 9. It's going to be 1, a discipline test if it was canister. Obviously it's not. So 1 hit on the 1st Eclairs of the Imperial Guard with the gendarmes, the elite attached. Now the Imperial Guard, Old Guard artillery are going to fire onto the Brunswick Hussars. So it's an inferior shot because of the range. They rolled a 5, so that's nothing. But they might get bounced through onto the Dragoons, and they do. So 1 hit on the Prussian Dragoons. And now the artillery brigade is going to fire onto the Prussian guns. They'll aim at the one on the right because they have 5 casualties, and they're the ones that they've got best chance of seeing off. So the guard artillery first. It's just 2 dice. 5, nothing. And then the 6-pounders. Actually, that's just going to be a weak shot because they're worn. Nothing. So that's all the fire from the artillery. And so now we're going to move on to volleys. We have 1 inferior volley from this battalion here. They're unformed, so it's going to be inferior, but they are veterans in line, so they'll get a bonus CD for that. Ooh, 11. That's going to hurt. Nothing on this, but that will cause a discipline test on these chaps. And 11, I think it's going to be 3 casualties. Yeah, only 2 casualties, actually. But that'll take them up to 4. But they are reservists, but they are in column. So enthusiastic, they'll test as line. 6, they will go unformed. That might well have saved their bacon because they won't be charging. So now we move on to hand-to-hand combat resolution. So we tally up the dice. They both start with 5. The Prussians are elites and veterans versus lower grade. They're elite. They're veteran. That's a lower grade. So there's another one. They get another one for Alan. They get another one for heavy cavalry. And they get another one as a cavalry modifier for elites. So they've got 9. These guys start with 5. They lose 1 because they're unformed. There are no other modifiers. So it's a 9 versus 4. They can't possibly lose because if they do lose the combat, it just gets converted to a take the ground. But we'll just see how much hurt they put on one another. So 1, 2 hits by the Dragoons on the Prussians, and 1, 2, 3. 3 hits. They've only won by 1. Okay, so these guys are going to stand and reinforce. So they're going to pitch these guys in as well. These guys are going to do a fighting withdrawal. As a consequence, only one of these units will fight on. And what they'll do is they'll fight on with this unit here because they won't be unformed. So they won't lose that. Actually, no, they will because the elite is probably worth more. The Elan, so they're going to lose 1 now before being unformed. Nothing really changes for these guys because they were already unformed. So it's 4 for the being a unit that's unformed. I don't know if combat elan. I don't know if the elan lasts for a second turn, but I'm going to say it doesn't. I guess my opinion would be the elan. If they've put up that much of a fight, that's taken the piss and vinegar out of them. So maybe the elan won't be there. It could be wrong, but at this point, I'm just going to go with it. But everything else still counts. The elite versus lower grade, elite cavalry and heavy cavalry. So it's going to be 7 versus 4 this time. Probably might be 7 versus 8, but 7 versus 4. That's what we're going with. And 1, 2 hits versus 2 hits. Okay, it's a draw, but because they're doing a fighting withdrawal, they automatically pull out of it. Now, I had to do that for these guys because they couldn't pitch in with these guys because they're a hesitant brigade, and you cannot reinforce with a hesitant brigade. If they chose to stand and fight on, they would have just been monstered. But they have fought magnificently. They've inflicted another 2 casualties. So these guys will go up to 4. These chaps will bounce up to 5. But they will have to withdraw. Now, withdrawing should take them off the table. We'll put them behind that. But for the first round of a fight, I'm not going to take them off the table. I'm just going to assume that they've bounced back to here. So this cavalry has really saved the day at this stage for the French on the left flank. I'm really interested to find out if Elan persists for another round of combat. Because if it does, those Frenchmen would have got another dice to throw at those Prussians would have got another dice, and if they did, well, it wouldn't have made any effect anyway because I rolled a 1. So, yeah, they fought like a bunch of pansies. Anyway, so that ends turn 9, and now we'll go on to turn 10. So at the start of turn 10, core orders for Blucher. He's got black and he's got red. And core orders now for Davu. He's got red, that's all. Guards division, they've got 2. The Prussian 1st Division, they've only got 1. And the Prussian 2nd Division, they've got 2. Now we are the French 12th Infantry Division, 5 ADCs, 2 brigades faltering. They need at least 2 ADCs, and they've got 4. All right, that should give them some re-rolls for the faltering brigades. Now the 13th Division, they've got 3, and finally the Imperial Guard Division, the Young Guard, and they've got 2. 4, 3, 2. Start with the French 12th Infantry Division, 4 ADCs, 2 automatically go to divisional commander to shore up divisional morale. That leaves them 2. They're going to give a re-roll to the 1st Brigade and a re-roll to the Light Infantry Brigade of the 12th Infantry Division. So we'll do this brigade first. They're currently faltering, so that's still wavering. We'll come back to that. The Light Infantry Brigade, okay, they've passed, so they'll go straight to hesitant. Now they do have a re-roll for this brigade here, which will still be wavering. They'll re-roll it, hoping to get better than a 3. Okay, they've rolled a 1. I think that's a sauve-qui-paix. Sauve-qui-paix. Dispersal. All current retreaters and any unit within 2 casualties of dispersal point and the brigade skirmish line, they disperse. All other brigade units retreat and take 4 CDs, which will certainly take them off. It might not take them off the table. It might get them back to the table edge. So, but they will take 4 CDs as they go back. So that's that brigade done. We'll go on to the other brigades now. The cavalry brigade, well, it's bold, so they just get an automatic reroll, and they've passed. And the Swiss brigade, they've passed. So now we'll move on to the 13th division. Okay, so 18 will get them, technically it takes them off the table, but it's so close I'm going to let them get to the edge. But they will retreat, and they will still be faltering, and they do have to take their 4 CDs with the casualties. Now the question is invariably going to be asked, why re-roll a 3? Okay, on the faltering brigade table, if they rolled, with the re-roll, if they rolled a 2, they're still going to be wavering. If they rolled a 3 again, they would have been wavering. 4, 5, or 6, they would have rallied. Only a 1 would have resulted in a sub-quipe, and unfortunately they've rolled 1. So that's it's kind of unlucky for them, but at least they're not off. At least they're not off the table. If they had gone off the table, that would have automatically dispersed the entire brigade anyway, because this is all that's left of it. So we'll do the 4 CDs for these guys, and then we'll do the 4 CDs for them. So the 2nd battalion first. I've rolled 5 dice. How foolish of me. Try 4 this time. Okay, 4 hits. That takes them up to 6. They're worn. And then this battalion here beside them in line, which is the 1st battalion, and they only take 1 hit. So they'll go up to 4. And then we'll retreat them. Okay, so the 13th Division, they're going to use their final CNC tasking. Post of Honour for this brigade up here. For the French Imperial Guard Brigade, they have 2 ADCs. They're going to gain a 3rd ADC using the CNC, the Corps Commander orders, but they're going to use their initial 2 to use Post of Honour on their Young Guard Tréliers of the Guard. So these guys here are going to use Post of Honour also, and then they're going to give the the Corps Commander's red order to also give that to the Tréliers of the Guard, so they can also go forward with the infantry assault with Post of Honour. So that's where the red Corps Commander's ADC will go. So this brigade in this area here, the 1st brigade, just a re-roll, just a roll, no re-roll. They've gone heavy. The artillery brigade, no re-rolls, just a neat roll. They've gone hesitant as well. So that's an additional die for core initiatives. Now these guys over here, they've used the 2 of their 3 ADCs to get Post of Honour, and their 3rd ADC they've given to the brigade for infantry assault. Okay, now we'll go to the Guard. Guard Cavalry Brigade, he's bold, so he gets 2 dice, and he's just passed. And the Tréliers of the Guard, they've passed. Yeah. The 2nd Infantry Division are going to use Chief of Staff. So that'll give them 2 back straight away, so they're now up to 4, and they get to re-roll the 2 they missed. And they've got 1 of them, so they've got 5 ADCs all up. So we'll start with the Prussian Guards. Their Cavalry Brigade, they've got nothing allocated, but they've passed. The Guard Infantry, they've had both ADCs allocated to the Guard Infantry, and they've got forwards. He is a bold brigade commander, and a 6 there's passed, so he's got forwards. So this battalion here, the 1st Division, 1st Brigade, they're going to use the Core ADC, that's the red order from Blucher, and they're going to give the other ADC to the Fusiliers Battalion, and they're going to have a re-roll with Glory. And they've passed. The 2nd Brigade from the 1st Division, they've got just 1, they've got no re-rolls, no nothing, so it's just a neat roll, and they've gone hesitant. So we'll go on to the 13th Division, the 2nd Infantry Division now. Okay, so for the 1st Infantry Brigade, Glory, Skirmish, re-roll, so that's 3 ADCs there. They've passed. The next brigade along, just a re-roll. Sorry, a re-roll with glory. They've passed. And the cavalry brigade, no re-rolls, no nothing. They've gone hesitant. So now we roll for initiative. The French 12th Division has 2 hesitant/faltering brigades. The French 13th Division has 2 hesitant/faltering brigades. So that's going to be 4 dice, with them taking the lower 2. Okay, so 3, 4, and the Prussians will roll 2 dice neat. 6. Okay, only just, but it's enough. Prussians have the initiative. We'll do Prussian charges first. So these guys here, this elite battalion has forwards. So they will charge these guys. I don't know why I've gone with forward. I think it was mainly because if I hit them and even if they just get a withdrawal or push them back, they'll take them off the table. That would destroy this division. But I could just have easily have charged these guys here and given them glory and then allocated the other ADC to the cavalry or something. But anyway, that was stupid. But we're going to go with it now, regardless. So they have forwards. So they're in column. So that's 9. Forwards gives them additional 6 inches. So that's 15. And they get 2 additional dice. Another 6. 21. That's easily going to reach, because this is 18 here. So they'll go charging forward and stop 3 inches short. Now, they can get a weak volley from these guys as they go past, because they're unformed, they're worn, and they lack fire discipline. So just a single CD, but they do get a hit on them, and that's important because that takes them up to worn status. Now, these guys can deliver a volley. It's going to be an inferior volley with a CD, because it's an infantry column charging at 3 inches. And they get an additional CD because they are veteran, drill troops. So the red is the shooting dice. So 1 hit here, plus 9, I think is going to be 2. Plus it's going to be another 3. That'll take them up to 9. Being elites, they don't disperse until they're at 15, so they're still okay. So we'll do their discipline test first. They're elites, but they've dropped because of the casualties. They're going to need a 6 to pass. And they've rolled a 7. So they've passed. Now, they'll have to take roll 3 dice, take the lower 2 because they're worn. Or actually, they'll have to roll 4 because not only are they worn, but they've taken 3 casualties in the charge. So they'll roll 4, take the lower 2. Okay, 1 and 4. Okay, so that's their score. These guys will roll 2, and they'll take a re-roll from these guys because they're within 3. So they roll their 2, a 5 and a 2. Okay, so obviously they're going to re-roll the 2 with these guys here. They're down to 4. These guys could simply just take that and combat with alarm, but they're going to re-roll the 1 because why wouldn't they? This is their elite re-roll. Okay, it's gone up to 2. Okay, so it's a difference of 2, so they will simply go in and combat with alarm. I did make a slight error here. These guys were not unformed, so they should have only been rolling 3 dice and taking the lower 2. But it doesn't really matter. It hasn't had an effect, but yes, 3 dice, not 2. Unformed would have brought in the 4th dice. Simply having 3 casualties in the charge and being worn, it's only 1 die, not 2. The only thing that would have brought the 4th die in was if they were unformed as well. Just want to make sure that's clear. Okay, so now we'll go on to the French charge. So the next charge we have, before we go on to the French, is actually this one here. A single battalion with glory charging these Swiss. They're at 3 inches already, so before they even step off, these guys will respond. They'll deliver a volley. Just got to check to see, because these guys are closer and directly to their front, if the hits get shared across both of them. I think it does, but I'll just check. So you can see at the 45-degree arc, half the unit, its fire would hit these guys way before it hits them. So I'm going to treat this as multiple targets. So that's going to be the primary target because they're charging at them, but they're going to have to share the hits across these guys as well. So if there was 3 hits, there'd be 2 here and 1 there, for example. Okay. And I went to the Facebook forum and David Brown confirms that my assumption is correct. So it's a grenadier unit, so it will get extra dice, and it's firing at an infantry column of less than 3 inches, so it'll get an extra CD for that. So the red is the shooting dice and the white are the CDs. Okay. Oh, an atrocious volley, no hits, and they've lost fire discipline. So now we'll do the charge procedure. 2 dice, no supports, so no rerolls. 2 dice, no support, no rerolls, but they are grenadiers versus lower quality, so they will get 1 reroll. Prussians are the red. Okay, so it's 6, currently plays 3. Okay, obviously they're going to use their grenadier quality reroll. That was a 1. Oh no! That is a difference of 3. I think they'll close and combat with a land. Infantry versus infantry, 6 plays 3. Difference of 3. Take the ground. Defender retreats and suffers 4 CDs. All right. 4 CDs. 3 hits. That takes them up to 6. And a retreat will take them clean off the table. Straight back through here. They won't unform these guys, but it will falter that brigade regardless. Actually, it's much worse than that. Because these guys are now reduced to less than 50%, the whole brigade disperses. I think that happens at the moment that the brigade is caused to falter, or has lost that many men. But I'll check them and we'll see how that works. But these guys could well be gone. Right. So while that's going on, we will go on with French charges. Okay, so we'll do this charge here. The lead charge unit will be this battalion here, charging these guys. These guys will evade and shoot before they charge through. So that'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, brigade skirmish long 5, skirmish tasking 6, 7. So they'll fire 7 CDs at these guys, with the first hit going on these guys because they are in arc and in range. So 7 CDs, then they'll skirmish away, evade away, and then we'll have the volleys from these chaps as they go forward. All right, so they'll move to within 3 inches of this battalion here. So 7 skirmishers. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that is 4 hits, 2 casualties. 1 will go on these guys because they're in arc in range, and then I'll put 1 on these chaps. Now the volleys. Well, it's 1 dice because it's a column firing, but they get 1 because it's a column at close charging at 3 inches. If they get 2 hits here, that will cause a negative modifier. Oh, close. They only got 1. So it's going to be 2 casualties on these guys here. These guys will just be rolling 2 dice with 1 reroll because these guys are not to their rear. So 1 reroll from these guys here because they didn't fire. These guys, they'll get a reroll from these chaps. They'll get a reroll from these guys because they're to their rear. And they'll get a reroll for the post of honor because they didn't use the forward tasking. So 3 rerolls. We'll do the Prussians first. Right, they're pretty happy with that. That's 9. Now the French. Okay, that's pretty poor. Okay, they'll use 1 of their rerolls now for the battalion to their side. they'll use another reroll for the battalion to their rear, and they'll use the final reroll for their glory, the post of honor bonus. Okay, so it's 9v9. The Prussians would be foolish to roll that. It's a draw, so mind you, we're going to roll it because if they roll a 1, or the odds are they'll either be the same or they'll improve. And it's the same. So yeah, it's just a draw. So these guys will close to combat, and it's just a draw. So in they go, and when we get to the fighting phase, it's essentially going to be they'll have 1 CD more because they've got glory going for them as well. So that's going to be a close, keenly contested tussle. So let's go over to the Tréliers of the Guard now and their charge. Now the Tréliers of the Guard, they've got infantry assault, gives an extra 3 inches, so they're not going to need to use the forwards glory, the post of honor forwards bonus. So they're just going to come forward. As they do, these guys will shoot at them, and then they'll get to this point, then the line will shoot at them, and then we'll resolve the charge. So the skirmishers will fire with 5 skirmisher CDs, and then the volley will be delivered. Okay, so it's 5 CDs from the skirmish screen, which will be the white dice, plus the volley, plus the white dice for firing at a column at 3 inches. Oh, wow. 1, 2, 3, plus 7. A standard volley 7 is 2. So that's going to be 5 all up. Oh, that was wicked, but not enough to cause them to be worn. Okay, so the French, they'll roll 3 dice because they've taken more than 3 or more casualties in the charge. But they'll get a re-roll because they didn't, the post of honor, and they didn't use forward, so there's 1. And then 1 for each at the rear. So that's going to be another 2, so that's 3 re-rolls, and they're veteran versus lower quality, so I think that's another 1. But we'll roll their dice first. 3 dice, taking the lower 2. Okay, 4 and 4, that's a pretty good roll. And then the Prussians are going to roll 2 dice. 1 and 4. But the Prussians do have a re-roll for their battalion to their right and the battalion to their rear. 1 to their right, that's 5. All right, they still have 1 up their sleeve, so we'll hold that for now. And then the re-rolls, the glory re-roll first, the flanking re-roll here, the rear would re-roll there. Okay, so far they're tied. Could take 1 more re-roll because they are veterans, but as it is, it's just close to combat. I think we'll go with that because they will have the advantage in the combat of 2 extra CDs as a minimum in all probability. So they'll just take that and close to combat. Okay, so we're going to go over movement now. I'll do both sides movement because I've done both now. Obviously the Prussians moved first, then the French. But for the French, the Voltigeurs of the Guard, their brigade skirmish line reordered. The battalions have advanced. For the Tréliers of the Guard, their brigade skirmish moved to the left, as you see it, their right, to make room for the Young Guard cavalry coming through. Nothing else really happened in regards to the other Prussian battalions, except for this battalion here, the Silesian reservists. They've formed line. The skirmish screen from the 13th Infantry Brigade is stepped to the right, or their left as we see it. Really nothing to speak of amongst the Prussian infantry here, except for this battalion forming line. And as far as the Guard is concerned, their battery has limbered, and the brigade The Guard Schutzen Battalion has advanced into the sandpit while their skirmishers have advanced in support of this veteran cavalry that was to the rear has moved up. And basically, all these units that were unformed from the last turn have just reordered. So that's all the movement done. We'll do shooting. There's no off-table movement to speak of. So we'll start with shooting. Skirmishers first. Okay, so we've got this brigade skirmish line shooting at these guys and the garrison shooting at these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 dice there. 3 hits, 1 casualty on these guys here. The garrison firing out at these guys is just 4 dice. Three hits, 1 casualty there. So they'll go up to 8 now. 4 skirmishers shooting back at these guys. 3 hits. That will take a base off these guys here. These skirmishers here, they're unformed, so they would normally be 5 dice from those guys, but it's only going to be 4 in this case. And they're shooting at this line. 1 single hit, which is nothing. That's all the skirmisher fire to speak of. And so now we'll go to artillery. There's only 1 Prussian battery that can fire. Target for that Prussian battery will be the Eclairs of the Guard, the 2nd Regiment, and they'll get bounced through onto the 1st Regiment of Eclairs. So here's the dice. 9. No bounce through. I'm pretty sure that's within effective range. I'll just actually, it's over 2 foot. So it's an inferior 9. I think is going to be 2 hits but no discipline test. Actually, it's only 1 hit and no discipline test. Now both of these batteries are going to fire long range at that line that the cavalry is eyeing off. So we'll do the Guard battery first, and the white bounce through onto the column behind it. 5, nothing, but they will get 1 bounce through. And now the battery at this battery at the same target. 10, but no bounce through. So 10 will be a discipline test. They are reservists. And they will go unformed. So volleys, the only Prussian volley to speak of is this column here. I know it's only a single dice, but they are also veterans, so they'll get a single additional CD. So the red is the shooting die. Nothing. So they fired, but they achieved nothing. I was hoping for maybe two hits here, because if they waver, they could get some more hits, and then that'll be them. But anyway, that's all the volleys done. We're not going to bother firing skirmishes from the reservists in green. That would be a bit naff. So what we're going to do is we'll go straight onto the hand-to-hand. Okay, so this combat here, it's 7 versus 4. They are elite with a LAN, and then elite versus lower grade. They only lose 1 for the casualties. So they're 7. These guys would normally be 5, but they're unformed down to 4. So 7 versus 4. The red dice are the Prussians. Absolutely no hits from the small French unit. 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll take these guys up to 6 and drive them off the table. That will disperse this brigade. So this brigade's dispersed. The Swiss are dispersed. So this division is looking like this division might collapse as well. So we now have this one to resolve. Basically, both units have 5 dice. They're both lined. The Prussians have glory by 1 and the French have glory by 2. So it's going to be 6 plays 7 And the Prussians are the white, the French are the red. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4 hits by the Prussians. 1, 2, 3 hits by the French. So it is a win by 1. Infantry winner takes the ground. Loser retreats. So he'll take the ground unformed and he will retreat. He goes back 6 inches initially, which will unform these guys. He takes his 4 hits, so he's now up to 6. He takes his 3 hits, so he's now up to 4. And I'll put these guys back here unformed. Now we have to do a risk to general roll for our CNC divisional commander. Oh, it went close, but no cigar. So he's back here now. Wow. There's nothing going the French way at this moment. Maybe the young guard can turn things around for them, because it's not happening anywhere else, it would appear. Okay, so now we resolve these Tréliers of the Guard. Okay, so they're veteran versus lower grade. They're not worn. They have glory by 2. That gives them a grand total of 6, 7, 8. And these guys are just a straight 5. So it's 8 versus 5. Again, the French are the red. Okay, I'm seeing lots of 6s. 1, 2, 3. There's a triple. 4, 5, 6. 6 hits on them. That's given them a good kicking. But they gave 3 back. So this time the French are going to win. They'll unform these and they will continue to retreat and hit the edge of the table. Again, not the end of the world. So 6 hits. 1, 2, 3, yeah, 6. So that'll take them up to 8. So after all that, they've retreated to here with their 8 hits. These guys have gone unformed because they routed through them essentially. These guys are on their 8 casualties. And that's the end of turn 10. So it's we'll do a quick overview and then we'll discuss what is happening as we go forward from here. So at the conclusion of turn 10, we can see that the young guard is making some progress on the French right, or the Prussian extreme left. They've been blunted in the center, but they have got the young guard cavalry coming up, so that's ominous. The Prussians, at the start of turn 11, will have the Dutch-Belgian Cavalry Brigade from the Prince William of Orange's division arrive, and they can arrive pretty much anywhere on the table edge. 2 regiments of cavalry plus a horse artillery battery. On the downside for the French, and there's lots of downsides for the French, the 13th Division is now essentially combat ineffective. Half their brigades have been destroyed. The Swiss Brigade and the Light Infantry Brigade have been dispersed. Only half of the 51st Regiment, the 1st Brigade from the 12th Division remains, and the Cavalry Brigade from the 12th Division is here. And this is essentially the 12th Division right here. These 2 cavalry regiments and these 2 retreating, faltering infantry battalions, and there's the divisional commander. So that's it for the 12th Infantry Division. We see here in the center the Imperial, the Prussian Guard are bullying through together with the 1st Brigade of the 1st Division. 2nd Brigade of the 1st Division is basically this unit here, and these 3 units back here with their brigade skirmish line. Then we have the 13th French Infantry Division. This battalion here, this brigade here, this artillery brigade and this brigade that was, like I said, their assault went forward, but it's been blunted. There's no reserves organic to Davout's army coming. They have a cavalry brigade off table covering their rear, but at this point at turn 10, this is when the Hanoverian brigade is coming down and will be in contact now with that cavalry brigade to the French rear. At the same time, to the left rear of the Prussian position, to the southwest, we would have Napoleon and his Imperial Guard coming into contact with a division minus from Prince William Orange. The difference essentially is that the Dutch-Belgian division, consisting of 2 brigades and their associated artillery, will be able to hold Napoleon off longer than the single French cavalry brigade without any artillery support is attempting to hold off the Hanoverian brigade that's coming through. So we'll have a look at the map, discuss what's going on, and then decide what to do from there. Okay, so this is the situation. Here's our battlefield just in here, Mont Saint-Jean. What we have here is 3 Prussian divisions fighting 3 French divisions. The French single brigade of light cavalry trying to hold up this Hanoverian brigade. So the situation is quite simply this. The French are collapsing on their left flank, and the Prussians are turning in. There's really nowhere for the French to go if they are driven backwards. If they are driven in a northerly direction, they're just going to get crushed between the Prussians and any troops that Wellington might send from Brussels. There's also this brigade here, a mix of cavalry, artillery and infantry, are going to soon make short work of this small, very understrength brigade of just simply 2 light cavalry regiments. For the French, the key is for them to hold as long as they possibly can and hope that Napoleon and his Imperial Guard will bully through these Dutch Belgians, which they eventually will. But the more likely result is that these Hanoverians will drive this cavalry out of the way and come in and complete the destruction of Davout's corps before Napoleon can destroy Prince William of Orange. If that happens, what will happen is the Prussians are then free to advance and link up with Wellington. And in doing that, effectively, that ends the campaign as an Allied victory and defeat for Napoleon. So we're going to wrap it up there. Join us for this final part 3. This was already gone well over 2 hours, which makes it one of the longest videos I've ever made. So I'm going to wrap it up here with the situation poised as it is, with really the French holding on desperately, hoping that the young guard can really save the day, or at least open up a route for them to escape out of this area through here and link up with Napoleon and his guard.